Welcome back to the channel. My name is Crawford. This is Virginia's for Lowriders, and this is like part 4-ish of 5, maybe. I don't know. It's progress on a truck that we were building. We were body dropping, bagging, 3-link, redoing some very, very questionable work. If you haven't seen the other videos, go check those out. There's a little bit of bed work. It shows me taking this whole rear end apart and explaining what's going to be going on. In this video, we're going to be cutting off all the bracketry from the rear end. We find some extremely questionable work and have to go and repair it. I will be showing, if you stick around to the very end, how I go about doing a temporary, which I don't want to show too much, not that it's very exciting, but stick around to the end, temporary, easy 4-link mock-up setup. Easiest mock-up thing that you can possibly do to where you're not wasting material. So stick around, comment, like, and subscribe. Please subscribe. That would be much appreciated. You need to go through and cut off all of the brackets on the rear end. Cut the brackets off of the frame because the welds are terrible and they're in the wrong spot. I need to cut off these shock mounts on both sides and start cleaning up all this stuff and try to get everything smooth and ready for new tabs. I just got in the mail a couple different things here. I bought a whole bunch of solid bar ends. It is actually cheaper for me to purchase these than it is to buy them, which is ridiculous, but I got them from Southside Machine and Performance. They're on eBay. And I'll open that up too. These are adjustable Heim joints. I think I'm only going to use one, but I found a pretty good deal on them, so I'm kind of stupid and I don't know. I look ahead on parts that I'm going to be purchasing for other projects, so I saw those and I was like, well, I'm going to need them eventually, and I'm dumb, so I'm going to go ahead and buy them now, and they'll just sit on the shelf for the next 30 years, and I'll probably never get to it, but let's start cutting some stuff up. I'm curious how well any of these little caterpillars are holding any of this stuff on. Zero penetration. There, it's completely smooth right there. That's ridiculous. There's no weld on that rear. This is like, feels like silicone or something. Look at that little guy. That's amazing that that was still on there. It's great. You don't need any of these. What is that? It's sticky. That's weird. Somebody created a whole lot of extra work. You can see the grinding marks with the paint inside of them. That was underneath the paint. This side, I thought that I cut into the tube with the grinder. So on this side, I avoided grinding it that way. Turns out somebody else cut into the tube. And it had nothing to do with me. There's a good bit more work that needs to be done, but shouldn't take too long to. The rear is nice and smooth on both sides now. There's a couple little speckles and stuff from the last guy. I don't know what they were doing. But again, the truck was built in the 90s. I don't think flap discs were exactly affordable then. Not like they are now, where they basically sell them to you for $1 a piece or whatever it is. So now I'm going to cut the 4-link brackets off the frame and the shock mounts off the frame and try and get these frame rails cleaned up. Last time I was in here, I cleaned around the notches, got all the terrible grinding marks, and went through and re-welded it because the welds are scary. I'm going to try my best to save those because that's a lot of work to redo all that for the same result. So let's get back to work. So I'm going to take the torch, run it across here, scarf off that weld, same thing here, and then take off these absolutely beautiful caterpillars that, again, don't look like they're doing anything. I could probably do the same thing again and smack these off with the hammer, but I'll try and cut them just in case it ends up cracking anything. So I'm going to cover that up and start cutting with the torch. Put a new oxygen bottle because I ran out while I was cutting the stuff off the rear, so I should be good to go. That's a lot of bondo. Looks like I got a lot of metal work to do. I guess I didn't go down as far as I thought I did. Maybe I only ground the top. I definitely never put bondo on frames. This is excessive. Well, this took a interesting turn. I thought I was going to be doing some other stuff. Turns out I'm removing bondo. I should have known. Like, I definitely remember last time I was here, I ground all of this down and found a really ugly little weld, so I cleaned all of this up. I guess I just did the top. I thought I did the sides, but I don't know. I'm kind of dumb. My memory's terrible, so I guess I just ground the bondo off of here and didn't realize how much there was in this. Oh, it's so bad. This got way out of hand. This is crazy. That's all bondo. I mean, I knew there was a skim coat when I saw this. Oh, and just so you know, this I didn't heat this up enough to like hurt anything. Like, just heated it and it's touchable. It's just enough to release the bondo from the metal. Makes it a lot easier, better than trying to grind all of it off and breathing all that crap in. But oh, even the inside. It bondoed the inside on both sides. That's crazy. Should have knew. I should have knew just because of the weird drive shaft thing. I don't know. Got a lot of grinding to do. Whole lot of grinding and welding that I wasn't planning on. And if my welds looked like this, I would I'd probably bondo them too, or at least just grind them. Like, make the material smaller, weld it, grind it, strong, let it go. But maybe this saved the truck. That the fact that they left the caterpillar on there, because if they ground that off, who knows? Who knows how much of that is actually doing anything? Like, this is the weld. Little baby caterpillars everywhere. And a ton of bondo. Judging by these little squigglies, I think those are grinding marks. I'm hoping that I can hit it with this stripper wheel and it'll look good underneath there and I won't have to do a bunch of smoothing, but we'll see in a second. Yeah, this is pretty bad. That thing I just used to clean it off with doesn't create grinding marks. And this is covered in them. Oh, man. Kind of contemplating decisions here. Whether I want to clean this up or start over. I kept saying I wanted to save all of this. That way I wouldn't have to do the work again, but I mean, we're talking hours worth of repair. Well, I guess I'll sleep on it. It's like 11 o'clock now. I'll pick this back up tomorrow, hopefully. Alright, so it's yet another day. Last night I got a whole lot of bondo and terrible grinding marks. These are all smooth flat disc marks, so it's not that bad. I got that to that point on both sides. Actually ground down to where you can see the piece of metal here, and I found while grinding all of this, the bondo is about a 1/4 inch thick on the bottom of the frame. So that's exciting. Lesser depressing news and waste of money. I purchased mock-up stuff, mock-up material that I will be using in place of the wildly expensive DOM tubing. That way I'm not wasting the DOM tubing as I'm setting this up. I can cut this material and run the suspension through its paces, and it's PVC. So 2 sticks of this for 16 bucks, and it's reusable over and over and over, and an adjustable bar end fits inside of it. So simple as that. Run a piece of tape across it, and you have a mock-up 4-link bar to get your bends right, get your angles right, all that. Just a little easier than and cheaper than wasting good material. So I'm gonna get back to grinding. Sorry this video is like mostly me grinding and finding out disappointing stuff, but I'm gonna get back to grinding, get a little bit of that finished up, set the rear end underneath the truck, and start mocking that up. Alright, it's another day. I am back in the garage, and not yesterday, because yesterday I passed out when I got home, but day before, this is where I got all those big booger welds ground off of here. Got this almost to the point that I want it. As you can see here, it's kind of hard to tell, but there's a little line where this is basically separate from the sides, and that shows me that there was no penetration between this plate and this plate, because this is almost coming off of here, which is kind of scary. But I guess if you just throw enough boogers and caterpillars and whatever at something, it'll eventually hold itself together. But I think I'm going to go through and TIG weld all of it together now to be sure, and I won't have anything to grind, and then it'll look better, blah 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 blah. And I got all of these ground down. I think I'll go through and put a pass with the MIG across all of this, because I don't think my TIG welder will like going through whatever, probably flux core welder that they were using. So I ordered from Summit 3 days ago 1.5 inch just steel tubing, non-DOM, to make the cross members for this. I ordered, which I just got in today, the 4-link brackets. I got a couple different sizes off eBay. It really sucks because in my area they closed down the steel shop that I was using for the last I don't know, actually longer than that, before I moved to my house, so probably like 6 or 7 years. They closed the steel shop down. It's hard to get steel here because the closest shop now is about 2 hours away north, and it's a pain in the butt. So I have to order pretty much everything offline, which takes forever because it's all heavy, oversized, overweight packages. So I'm waiting for that. But I have enough stuff to sort of kind of get this mocked up. So I think that's what I'm going to do real quick is scoot the rear end underneath the frame, get it on some jack stands, and get a basic idea of where half travel would be, and try to put sort of hang some 4-link tabs on here to get a rough idea of what's going to need to be done. I think that's the plan for the day. On the other side, can actually see the separation of this. I think what I'm going to do is cut, well, not really much cutting because it's basically separated. Remove this and move it up just a little bit. When this truck was initially set up, it was set up with 16s that were terribly ugly, chrome, old school stuff. Now it has the 18s with a decent sized tire. This is a 40 series, so it's not quite a rubber band, but since it was set up with a 16 way back in the day, the rear end had a lot more clearance, and now it does not. So I need to come up with that space somewhere. It doesn't touch, it's just really, really close. And I don't like how compressed the bags are when the truck is down. I know I can change that a little bit with the height of the bag plates that I'm going to be putting in it, but I would like to give myself at least a 1/4 inch or so between this frame rail and the rear end, I think, just to add. That way, if I can't get a 40 series sidewall and I need to buy a 45 for whatever reason, I'm not stuck with those wheels and this. Yeah, you get the idea. So let's get to work. I'm really just putting this rear end under here because I am absolutely tired of grinding. I hate grinding. It is the worst thing. The only thing's worse than grinding is sanding, and that's involved. So taking a little break, get a little bit of instant gratification of putting the rear back underneath of it and getting an idea of where all this money that I've been spending is going as far as 4-link tabs and all that. Sorry, I'm just trying to justify what I'm doing here to my brain. And I like to apologize in advance because about once a year, T-Mobile decides that I don't need service at my house for a week at a time. Luckily, it's only once a year. And that week is this week. I have no service, so I'm going to attempt to edit this video and maybe go sit in the Walmart parking lot and upload it because I don't know what to do. I have zero service right now. My phone is actually plugged into a charger outside in the middle of the yard, which sounds crazy, but that's the only place I can get messages, so, or stay in contact with the world, apparently. Gotta fish mouth my super high-tech temporary 4-link here. This is like arts and crafts up in here. Again, this is a visual representation, just so I can run it through its paces with the 3-link portion of it, because I don't want to waste any material, and I have to go around the gas tank, and I gotta make sure everything clears the bags, and I just don't want to waste anything. So I would much rather waste, like, I don't know, $6 worth of PVC and yeah, not break the bank. So this is much cheaper. So I really don't have all my stuff together today. I don't have any 9/16 bolts. I don't have all of the everything that I need to do this, but I will get some general satisfaction with some sort of false progress here. I have almost everything to get this general idea going here. These tabs might be a little long for what I'm trying to do here, but we'll see. I'm trying to utilize the front mount. Oh, before I forget, these are mock-up bushings. I believe I bought these from Thorbeck Brothers whenever I ordered some stuff last time. They're cheap, they're like $5 a piece, but they save you from melting your bushings while you're mocking up everything. So I'm just doing the roughest mock-up I can here. I don't have 9/16 bolts. I gotta get some. I thought I did, but my bolt bin does not go to 9/16 here. It jumps past it. So all I'm doing here is just getting a rough idea. I think these tabs might be a little long, but again, this is a rough idea. That's why we're doing this, to make sure that the tabs aren't too long, or if I need to cut them down, or buy new ones, or make new ones, whatever. I really like using these massive zip ties. They're reusable because you can stick a screwdriver in them, pull the little tab down, take them back off. You can get them from usually they're in the HVAC section of like Home Depot or Lowe's. They'll use them to hold some of that crinkly, flexible tubing together. But for stuff like this, they're great because it's like a third hand that I can take off and on and move around a couple hundred times until I get this right. While I'm taking measurements, occasionally you'll see a tape measure in my hand. Sometimes, not that often. GoPro stop recording. Well, the end that I have doesn't fit in there. So, just for today, just for the video, because it doesn't really matter, because it's like $3 worth of PVC that I'll be ruining, we're going to use a heim joint just for a visual representation of what I'm trying to get at here. This is way too small for this hole. The bolt is not the right size. And again, just get you a rough idea. So, that is the quickest, easiest way that I know to get an idea of what you're working with. Get your spacing right. Make sure that I don't need to order anything else. Apparently, I need to take some off of this or remove those brackets altogether to make this fit, which I feel better about that because I'd like to use this width because this is what I was trying to go with all the way around, but not positive that's going to happen. Again, just trying to get mocked up, get myself an idea of what I need to do because it takes so long to order stuff. So that about sums it up for today, I believe. I think I got enough to put a video together. I apologize for all the grinding. I hate doing it more than probably you hate watching it. But I wanted to get something out there. It's part of the build, part of the process. Everybody needs to see, especially if you plan on buying a used truck that was already bagged. You might end up getting into the same situation, which sucks, but it's part of the custom vehicle world. You run into a lot of questionable decisions when it comes to how people do stuff when nobody's paying attention and they have buckets of bondo laying around. But yeah, I think that's a good stopping point. A lot of grinding, so much grinding. Check back in, and hopefully next week some welding happens. That's the goal. Welding. That was the goal this whole week, but grinding took precedence over that. So yeah, check back in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing would be great. I appreciate it.